30 years ago, it might have been fitting to call the Hudson River a sewer. Since the early 70s, many polluters have been challenged and stopped, bringing about dramatic changes in the river's health. Today, the Hudson River teems with over 100 species of fish and provides recreation and dramatic sights to all that navigate its 315-mile course. The Indian Point nuclear power plant has continually operated during the Hudson's 35-year revitalization, a time when many fish populations have significantly increased. Yet, Riverkeeper, a local environmental watchdog with a strong anti-nuclear agenda, has a particular passion for assigning blame to the Indian Point power plant for any number of perceived ills. In 2008, they have charged Indian Point with reducing the Hudson shad population. A lifelong environmentalist, Dr. Patrick Moore, co-founder of Greenpeace and current president of Green Spirit Strategies, sees the environmental benefits of nuclear power.
As a lifelong environmentalist, I'm concerned about the impacts of our energy production on the environment. One of the reasons I'm a strong supporter of not only renewable energy, but also of nuclear energy, is because it doesn't pollute our air and it doesn't pollute our water and provides a large amount of continuous and reliable clean energy to run our hospitals, our factories, our schools, and our homes.
In terms of the river's health, Indian Point is actually a good neighbor as it replaces other energy sources that would produce airborne pollutants that are harmful to the Hudson River.
Well, interestingly, there's over 100 species of fish in the Hudson River. And you go back, though, 20 or 30 years, and it wasn't like that. The Hudson River was essentially dead for many miles of its stretch. Because the toxic waste from industry has been cleaned up over the years, the Hudson is one of the healthiest rivers on the eastern seaboard today. The populations of striped bass and shad and many other species are higher now than they were back then, even though they're being heavily fished in many cases. And all the while, the Indian Point nuclear plant has been operating here during this time of recovery of the river.
The specifics of this recent argument states that Indian Point kills 1 billion fish eggs a year and therefore is reducing the shad population.
Riverkeeper should be looking at overfishing and introduce species like the zebra mussel that really are having an impact on the ecology of this area, instead of pointing the finger at Indian Point, which is actually in balance very beneficial for our environment.
For decades, the New York Department of Environmental Conservation has managed costly studies on the health of the Hudson River, and the findings by their independent experts are at odds with the Riverkeeper study. In fact, Riverkeeper seems at odds with itself, as Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stated that the Hudson is the richest body of water in the U.S. It has more fish per acre than any river in the country. DEC Commissioner Grannis's recent comment would seem to support this statement when he stated that the health of the Hudson is excellent. In January 2009, the New York Independent System Operator, the organization which operates New York's electrical grid, warned New Yorkers that the loss of Indian Point's energy would cause an immediate violation of reliability standards. In addition, a federal study demonstrates that we would need 4 to 5 new fossil fuel burning plants just to keep pace with the clean, low-cost energy produced by the facility. This begs the question, where would Indian Point opponents like these replacement plants to be constructed? Would we build a fossil fuel burning plant in Yonkers? How about Hartsdale? Or what about Bedford? Surely these unsightly, polluting, and expensive plants are not the answer, and yet Indian Point's clean power would have to be replaced. Health issues and Indian Point are the focus of other environmental groups as well. Norris McDonald, president of the African American Environmentalist Association, shares his concern.
This is the environment I'm interested in, right here in the heart of Harlem, at 125th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. This, during smog days, is where you will get people suffering, particularly the elderly and small children. You might not be aware that one of the principal protections against smog production is a nuclear power plant 40 miles, 30 miles north of here. It doesn't produce any smog-forming gases, and that's why we believe that it should stay open. Environmentalists should not be allowed to utilize the issue of fish eggs that will end up hurting children with asthma and elderly with asthma.
Of course, there should be ongoing efforts to revitalize and protect the Hudson River, as well as our citizens, and the continued operation of Indian Point is completely compatible with these goals. Indian Point's benefits are evident, and the consequences of its closure are dire.
Surely these aren't choices that anybody concerned about the environment and their children's health would want to make.